Five NFL players with the most to prove in the 2025 NFL season. NFL Spotlight starts now. Welcome in. It is the Monday, June 30 edition of the NFL Spotlight Show. I am your host, Ari Meirov. Another week here of NFL Spotlight, the final episode of the month of June. Surprise, surprise, once July comes here, at the end of July, that's when the NFL preseason officially starts. Yes, July 31, we will have the Hall of Fame game, Chargers and Lions. Pretty rare to have football in July, even if it's the final day of the month, but that is coming up over here. Once July hits on Tuesday, we officially will have football in the month of July. But for today, let's look ahead over here to the 2025 NFL season. Talk about some players. Let me bring in my good friend Ben Allen. Ben, what is going on? Football in July. Were you ready for that?
Until you just said it right now, I did not even realize. For some reason, I had it in my head that it was one of those first few days of August. I did not realize it was coming this month. Well, in a month. That's exciting and scary. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Vacation time is over. So the full grind is starting here pretty soon.
Yeah, I think we're going to slow down with episodes here over the next couple weeks until we get a little closer to that date. Ari and I need to take a quick breather, but we have still got a lot of exciting stuff lined up, which we'll get more into over the coming days. And but today, we got to get into some important stuff with players that have a lot to prove, particularly the most to prove. So can you go through with us, Ari, 5 guys as we approach training camp, then we enter all of the preseason games, and then just the actual season, 5 guys that have the most to prove?
Yeah, Ben, everybody has something to prove, whether it's a contract, a new team, trade, revenge, whatever it is. I mean, you could do an endless list of players for something like this, but the 5 I'm going to pick, it's all different reasons. And I'm going to start with 2 quarterbacks here from the same draft class, actually. We're going to start with number 1, Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And last offseason signed this gigantic 5-year, $275 million extension. That is $55 million per year. That is franchise quarterback money. But last year, the final year of Doug Peterson as head coach, 10 games started, 2-8 record when he played, just over 2,000 yards, 11 touchdowns, 7 picks. He, of course, finished the year on IR with that very significant shoulder injury that required surgery. But let's be real for a second. If he was in any other market right now, any bigger market, he would be getting roasted nationally. Like, for the money that he got, for the number 1 pick that he was, for the generational tab that he got coming into the NFL. Here we are in 2025, new offensive-minded head coach in Liam Cohen, who was tremendous in Tampa Bay last year with Baker Mayfield. You have Brian Thomas Jr., who was sensational as a rookie. They drafted Travis Hunter, who's going to be playing a lot of offense this year. They upgraded the offensive line with guys like Patrick McCaffrey and Robert Hainsey, who will take over as starters in that interior of the offensive line. There's no more excuses here. I mean, whenever you get paid that type of money, the goal is not only to get good quarterback play, but to elevate everyone else, not just the offense, but the entire team. That obviously did not happen last year, but they're ushering in a new group of people here in the offense and, of course, on the coaching staff. A lot of pressure for Trevor Lawrence to take that big next step over here in 2025. Number 2 over here, we're going to have another quarterback, and it's going to be a guy on a new team. It is Justin Fields. This is really his chance. Of course, he was in Chicago. It didn't work there. There were, coaching, new coaches, Matt Nagy, Matt Eberflus. Of course, eventually Caleb Williams comes in. He gets traded to Pittsburgh. He starts the beginning of the year last season. Definitely shows some flashes, has the team in the right direction. Mike Tomlin makes the bold move to move over to Russell Wilson, and he starts the rest of the year. This is his chance. 2 years, $40 million, no real competition. Tyrod Taylor is the etched backup there. He is the starter. He is the guy, and he gets a chance to be around a team that has so much talent still, even though they didn't have much success last year. And some of those guys on the team include his old buddies from Ohio State, including, of course, Garrett Wilson, Jeremy Rucker, Josh Myers. They signed this offseason. You have Brees Hall. The offensive line, left to right, is still pretty good. It's actually very good, I would say, with guys like Olu Fashanu, John Simpson, Joe Tippmann, Elijah Vera Tucker, and their first round pick, number 7 overall, Armand Membu, as the projected 5 left to right. This is his chance. Everything is in place. If it doesn't happen now, it might never for Justin Fields. So to start this list, we have 2 quarterbacks, Ben.
Yeah, I want to ask about Fields. If things don't go to plan for him, maybe the expectations that he's setting, how long is that leash before they just say, okay, we're just going to go ahead and lose and see what we can do in the draft?
Yeah, I don't get the vibe that's who Aaron Glenn is. Aaron Glenn is as fiery as it gets. He's a coach, as coach of a guy there is. He's a Bill Parcells guy. There's no such thing as tanking and losing in his vocabulary. So I expect them to have a pretty long leash here for Justin Fields. And if you listen to the words that came out of Aaron Glenn's mouth and the actions this offseason with the contract, and the fact that they had the number 7 overall pick and they took an offensive lineman, the fact that a bunch of those quarterbacks slipped in the draft and they brought in some of those guys into their building, including a guy like Jalen Milrow, they did not draft those guys. They kept Justin Fields as the guy, Tyrod Taylor as the mentor / backup, and they're going all in with him. So this is his best chance he ever had. And keep in mind, the Jets, once upon a time, was a different regime, but they passed on him at number 2 overall. They took Zach Wilson. That didn't work. Now he's here with the Jets, and this is his best chance to prove that he could be a franchise quarterback. And Aaron Glenn was in Detroit when they had Jared Goff and revived his career. They're going to try to do the same with Justin Fields.
I like it. You had to get some quarterbacks on this list, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to number 3. Who you got?
Number 3, we're going to stick to the offensive side of the ball. We're sticking with, just like Justin Fields, a former Pittsburgh Steeler. And that is George Pickens, the new wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. He's heard it all offseason. Diva, locker room problem, can't get along with anyone. He's a cancer, whatever it is. Now he gets a fresh start in Dallas opposite CeeDee Lamb, and more importantly, with a legit quarterback in Dak Prescott. Keep this in mind. In Pittsburgh, there was a carousel. It was Kenny Pickett, then it was Mitchell Trubisky, then it was Mason Rudolph, then it was Justin Fields, then it was Russell Wilson. There was never any consistency at quarterback. As long as Dak Prescott, who's the highest paid quarterback in football, been there, done that, he's a proven commodity in this league. As long as he stays healthy, that is going to be a big plus for George Pickens. And for him, similar to Justin Fields, no more excuses. He's in a contract year. If he balls out, shows maturity, the money will follow him. And to this point, of course, he's been playing on a 2nd-round pick contract. He's not getting extended this offseason. This will be his best chance. But there are going to be moments this year where he's going to finish a game with like 2 targets and no catches. He's going to have to stay composed and be okay with that. And this is, again, a new coaching staff for the most part in Dallas. I know it's somebody who was there before, and Brian Schottenheimer, but he is now the head coach. He's going to have to keep George Pickens in check over here this year. To this point, he has been pretty good. But, of course, that is before pads go on. Pads go on in training camp. The games start, of course, first game of the year versus the Philadelphia Eagles in that opening game on Thursday night. It's going to be a big year over here for George Pickens to prove all that stuff is in the past. Mike Tomlin maybe couldn't handle me. I'm going to be a new guy over here in Dallas. That is definitely a player to watch over here this year.
Man, part of me wishes they had just held on to him because I would love to see George Pickens and Aaron Rodgers interact. Oh, man, that would be fun.
Listen, Ben, when they knew in the back of their mind Aaron Rodgers was coming. But I think when you read the tea leaves, he was working out with George Pickens. He was talking to Arthur Smith. He was talking to Mike Tomlin. He was talking to DK. There was never ever mention of George Pickens in all of that. Like, they were ready to move on. Like, they were done with him, So whatever happened last year behind closed doors with Mike Tomlin, enough was enough. It was never going to happen. And he got shipped off to Dallas. Jerry Jones made that move. He wanted to get him. They paid a pretty substantial amount for a player nobody else around the NFL was going to pay for. And now he's still young. He's got crazy potential. We've seen those crazy catches out there. It's more about putting it all together and not being a problem that he kind of was at times in Pittsburgh, and we'll see if he can do it in Dallas.
Makes sense. All right, you've got 3 guys. You got 2 left. Where are we heading next?
Yeah, I'm going to go to the defense here, even though my last guy is on offense. I'm going to go with Milton Williams, the Patriots defensive tackle, who got paid this offseason, signed a massive, and I mean massive, 4-year, $104 million contract with New England this offseason. It's crazy, $26 million per year for a guy who was on this Eagles defensive line, which was loaded. There was Jalen Carter, there was Jordan Davis, there was Brandon Graham, there was Josh Sweat, there was Jalen Hunt, there was that amazing secondary as well. New England's defense it's okay, it's good. It's nothing close to what the Eagles had, and he's going to have to prove it here with that contract. All eyes are on him in Foxborough. The media, it could be tough, it could be loud. Mike Vrabel will not let anything slide, and he's going to have to show right away that he was worth every penny. And for a player on his position, it's not always going to be on the stat sheet. It's going to be in those advanced metrics and pressures and those type of things and letting guys like Keon White and Harold Landry get home. But he's going to have to prove it right away, because the amount of money that they dished out to him, that is a lot of cash. I mean, it was more than most people expected really on the open market. Everyone expected him to do well, but when it became a bidding war between Carolina, Arizona, New England, it got to a whole different world. I mean, Osa Digizua, who was the other big defensive tackle who re-signed in Dallas, he got $20 million per year. And speaking to some pro scouts, they had Osa worth more than Milton Williams. And Milton, of course, made it to the open market and got $26 million per year. And he's not going to have all those guys that he had in Philadelphia around him. So there's a lot of pressure on him. He's made all his money. A lot of that is guaranteed, but he's going to have to prove it right away over here in New England when all eyes are going to be on him.
It is funny, like that contradiction of like he's got a lot to prove, but at the same time, he's taking money to the bank. He could just feed up, lay back, relax. I think that a lot of these guys are more competitive than that, and they actually want to.
But trust me, Ben, you do not want to be on that list of worst free agent contracts in NFL.
Albert Hainsworth.
We always hear Albert Hainsworth come up, right? You do not want to be on that list. So you want to prove, at least give us 2 good years on that contract and do not be a free agent bust.
All right. We got one more here to go. Who you got?
All right, this is one that he's coming off an injury, and he's done everything in the NFL. He's gotten paid multiple times. Former first-round pick. This is a potential comeback player of the year nominee. We're going to go to Christian McCaffrey in San Francisco. I mean, this is a you must have forgot type of a year for Christian McCaffrey. I mean, in 2023, he was the NFL's offensive player of the year, a true workhorse, a game changer, passing game, running game. You can't take him off the field. He was awesome in San Francisco. Last year, off the bat, week 1, surprise, surprise, he's inactive with this calf injury that never went away. Jordan Mason takes over, does well, but he is no Christian McCaffrey. And it was hard for the team to adjust without him at times, and the rest of the team started falling like flies as well with injuries. But entering this season, coming off that injury, he appears to be pretty healthy. He put on a Instagram story last week of him and Bijan Robinson and his brother Luke McCaffrey all looking super jacked, to say the least. And the question really becomes, is he still the same guy? They traded away Jordan Mason. The 49ers are still loaded. That team, they moved on from some players. Deebo Samuel's no longer there. There are defensive guys who are gone, but the offense still has guys. Ayuk will come back. Ricky Pearsall, Jawan Jennings. The offensive line was revamped a little bit. Trent Williams is still there. Brock Purdy got paid. They need Christian McCaffrey to be at least close to what he was. And with another, they're looking to get back to the playoffs there. Their schedule is one of the easiest in the NFL on paper. They have the AFC South, the NFC South. There's a real chance over here for the 49ers to bounce back, and they're going to need Christian McCaffrey to be as close to full health as possible. He appears to be good. He was participating in OTAs and minicamp, and now training camp, the pads are going to be on. We'll see if they go full force with him, if they're going to try to, do some workload management like we see in the NBA during training camp. But once the regular season comes here, I would expect him to be all the way back. And the NFL is better of Christian McCaffrey, to say the least, and they're expecting that in San Francisco.
All right, so let's recap here. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, George Pickens, Milton Williams, Christian McCaffrey. Wow, I counted wrong with my fingers. That's impressive, but I got the names right off the top of my head, so I'm proud of myself for that. Let's just work on being able to count with my fingers. The toddlers in the other room probably laughing at me, so I think it's a good list.
Yeah, I mean, there's more guys you can name here. And listen, we're going to have more of these list type of topics here in the near future, especially once training camp rolls around. But for a topic like this, I mean, there are endless possibilities. Like I could have picked Caleb Williams of Ben Johnson. You could have picked JJ McCarthy taking over a 14-win team. You could pick Anthony Richardson / Daniel Jones in Indianapolis. Both those guys have a lot to prove. But these five, a little blend of guys who are coming off injury, got the big contracts, want the big contract, coming off the injury, whatever it is, all these different blends of players here going into this year. And there's going to be a microscope on all five guys. And the first guy I had on this list, I mentioned him at the beginning, Trevor Lawrence. I truly believe, Ben, if he was in any other market, there would be way more pressure on him. I feel like it's a little bit lax there in Jacksonville of what he's done so far, but this is a big year for him. I mean, they have positioned him with everything that he needs, from the coaching staff to the players to everything. I mean, there's going to be a bigger microscope on him and all those other guys. I think there's already a microscope on them, but it's going to be even bigger going into this year.
Well, it's got to be. And I mean, we like the Houston Texans a whole lot. I think the way that they've built, but that division in general, it's just kind of, there's no one in there that necessarily blows you away. The Titans are going to be super young. You've got the Texans, who are quite good. The Colts are always that team that they seem to be in that 8-9 win range. Yeah. Their quarterback situation still murky with what's going to be going on with Anthony Richardson versus Daniel Jones. Still funny to say that out loud. It does seem like it's not up for the taking, but they have an opportunity to take a step forward. You draft Travis Hunter, you give the farm to be able to go out there and get him. You have to be able to perform that with Brian Thomas, I imagine. So, yeah, I got to say, there's probably a lot of pressure on him. But what about even our guy, Aaron Rodgers, we've spent a whole lot of time talking about? There's pressure on him to go out there and prove that he's not Brett Favre late in the career.
There is pressure on him. That was the last person I would put on my list, just because we've talked about him so much this offseason.
Yeah,
so I was like, we're not doing that.
He's got something to prove. It's just not like, he doesn't have to go win the Super Bowl. No one, I think, is like, you got to go win the Super Bowl, but you got to prove you're better than what you were with the Jets, which on paper, like statistically, wasn't that bad. It was just the results were terrible.
Yeah, I mean, not playing at all basically his first year, winning only 5 games the second year. I don't think Aaron wanted to go out that way. If he could get to the playoffs, win a playoff game, go away like that, I think he would be very happy.
Fair enough. Should we do a list next of 5 guys with the least to prove? And we just find the most obscure names. And we're like, yeah, he's really nothing to worry about here. Nothing. It's all good.
I wonder who would even be on that list. Is it like, I don't even know where to start. Like, who would be your number 1 guy off the top of your head? Do you have any?
I have no idea. That's why I'm like trying to like rack my brain. I'm like, who would be like, because you could go like the extreme of like a Tom Brady type where it's like they've won everything at this point. Who cares? Or you could go like the most obscure player no one's ever heard of and be like, yeah, they don't really have that much pressure on them. They're the 53rd man on the roster.
Like, I'm trying to think of like the longest tenured people. Like even Bill Belichick was let go. Even, like you think about that. You think of like,
does Patrick Mahomes have anything to prove?
I'm thinking of like, I mean, like if he has a bad year, all those, those guys who criticize all the time, be like, oh, he's off the greatest of all time chart. Tom Brady never had a year like this.
Fair.
Even I was going to say like Mike Tomlin, but like I feel like every year we're talking about him. Is this the final year? Even John Harbaugh, you're a Ravens fan. Like there's Ravens fans every year. Like, oh, we should find somebody else, get a new voice. So every year there's something to prove, regardless of who you are in the NFL. So
that's why it's fun. We always find storylines for the most obscure reasons sometimes as to why it could be the most important season of their career. And we're going to keep on searching for guys that have nothing to prove. I don't really know if I'm trying to think. It's like kickers. I'm like, who are like the kickers that have just been like, I've been around for so long.
Justin Tucker had it last year. They wanted him out. It doesn't matter.
There was nothing left to prove.
Yeah.
And well, there's a lot of jokes that could be made from that. But instead, I'm going to tell you guys to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. We've got a spotlight guest we're going to be recording tomorrow. If everything goes well and smooth, you guys will be seeing that name come out on Ari's X later in the day for a Tuesday release. And then, kind of like we talked about, I think we're going to gear down here for just a couple weeks, maybe get a little bit of a breather in there. We're still working through some of the schedule stuff. And then our plans to go through all these teams and give you guys a full preview of what's going to be coming on for the upcoming season. And a lot of fun stuff, I think, on the agenda here, Ari.
Yeah, we're gonna have a spotlight guest pending the recording coming up later today.
Yeah.
But we're gonna
you never
here.
reveal who it is until it's on tape.
Exactly. That's the rules of production for everybody over here. But we will officially reveal that here later today on my X page. Have that run Tuesday if all goes smoothly. And then we have a lot of plans over here. Once training camp officially rolls around, we will detail that over here in the coming weeks as well. But we will see all of you here tomorrow morning on Tuesday. See you then.